It is the Martha Zoller Show, and we're so glad to welcome into the studio Mayor Sam Couvillon, who we've talked to a bunch of times. You guys know him, but he's in a different role today. He is running for the 9th District Congressional Republican primary. Sam Couvillon, welcome.
Yes, thank you for having me. I do feel comfortable in this seat. It's the first time as a candidate and not as officially as the mayor. A little uneasy, but I feel like I'm in the right spot. I'm looking forward to the run ahead, and I feel like I've got a lot to offer to the people of the 9th District.
And you're going to join me again on February the 18th, where we're going to be remembering Pastor Rod Huey on his birthday and celebrating raising a little money for his daughter's college fund. So we're excited about that.
I'm glad you brought that up. You know, Rod was such a special person to the community. He was a close friend of mine. He did so much for our law enforcement as he was one of their pastors, and just a very untimely death, and has a small child that is going to need some help with educational expenses going down the road. And I know Chief Parrish and Sheriff Couch have agreed to help raise money. So everyone listening out there, next week we will be having a bit of a phone-a-thon. We're going to try to raise some money to help take care of Rod's daughter, so that I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, thank you so much for being so willing to help with that. So for people that may not know you, just tell them a little bit about you and then why you're running for Congress.
Yeah, the Reader's Digest version on Sam Couvillon. I was born and raised in Watkinsville. My father was an educator. My mother was a self-employed court reporter. Valedictorian of her class. I love to tell the story. She was valedictorian of her class, but she didn't go to college because somebody had to work while my dad was in college. And went to the University of Georgia, met my wife there. And we moved back to Gainesville after 15 years in Jacksonville. We moved back to Gainesville in 2009. This is her hometown. She is a Gainesville Red Elephant. And we have two kids. 25 lives in Charlotte, school teacher, and 23 lives in Raleigh, and she just graduated and she's in her first job. So, great
is
family.
She in the pharmacy business?
She's in the job placement business.
Oh, okay,
so headhunters, and and that's the family. And then how I got here, from the political side of things, I never really thought I was going to be in politics, but I was going to run for school board. And a good friend of mine who's a county commissioner, Jeff Stowe, came to me and he said, "Hey, look, Danny Dunnigan's running for mayor. That opens up a city council spot." At the time, our council was older, 86 years old, 81 years old, 74, 71, 64. And so Jeff encouraged me to run. And so I ran for city council in 2013. I did 2 terms on the council, and I went to Danny and I said, "Danny, I'm going to run." Danny had said he wasn't going to run again. And so he had said previously he wasn't going to. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to run. And then Danny ended up running for the city council spot, so we just swapped chairs. And, this council, we have seen, transformational changes here in Gainesville. We have done a lot of good things. I mean, as we look out here on the downtown square, I mean, what's happening on Friday nights, with the First Fridays, thousands of people coming down here, just churning that economic engine for all these business owners, bringing Boot Barn Hall. We welcomed at their 1-year anniversary. They asked me to speak, and I was just basically saying happy birthday, and we had people from 27 counties purchase tickets, and that is exactly what our intent was when we brought Boot Barn Hall here, was to bring people from outside the county to come into our county and eat at Avocados, to eat at Recess, to eat at Scott's, to get those outside tax dollars, bring them in here and help Gainesville's business churn. And we feel like we've had a very big hand in that progress.
So what made you decide to run for Congress?
I mean, ultimately, I feel like, we in the 9th District, we need a better representative for the 9th District. When I wake up in the morning, I want somebody who's going to be respected by his peers in Washington. I want somebody who's going to go to work for the people in the 9th District. I want somebody who's going to look at, Trump was overwhelmingly elected here in November. I want somebody who's going to walk shoulder to shoulder with the president and try to get his agenda passed. And I mean, ultimately, we need a voice in Congress who's going to help the people in the 9th District.
So what are your key issues? What are the things you think about when you think about the 9th District?
I mean, I think it's probably the same that a lot of people think. I mean, what are we worried about? We're worried about the cost of goods. We're worried about inflation. We're worried about a secure border. I'm worried about our farmers. I mean, here recently in our representative voted against farm aid. We had a bad natural disaster. Hurricane Helene hit our state, and our representative voted against hurricane relief. I mean, God help us if we're the ones that are hit next year. Are we going to have that support of our delegation to help us if we are the ones that are hit by the natural disaster? Those are the things, we've got to take care of our people, and we've got to have a congressman who is going to do that. For me, it's not about being on Fox News. It's not about making a point. It's about going to work and doing the job that you were elected to do. I've shown as mayor, the buck stops with me. I make tough decisions. I talk to people who like me. I talk to people who don't like me, and I'm never afraid to have that conversation. But the buck stops with me. I don't have the luxury of passing or sitting still and not answering the call. I've got to make the decisions, make the tough decisions, and ultimately help Gainesville move forward. And I feel like I can do that for the 9th District as well.
No, that was the next question. So you've had a lot of success here in Gainesville. I think nobody can deny. Now, people that don't like the traffic maybe don't think it. That's probably the people that don't like you, right? But how do you translate what you've done here to a congressional seat?
I think it's all about being able to work with people. It's about having a common sense approach when you attack a difficult issue. It's about being able to work with people to get through those difficult issues. You mentioned traffic. I mean, there's not a day that I wake up that I don't think about how we can improve the traffic in Gainesville. A lot of times it's little gains. They're not big transformational gains. We're not going to have a bypass overnight here in Gainesville, but we are working on things to try to help the traffic. I would do the same thing, when tackling inflation. I mean, I'm going to work with the administration to try to figure out what can we do to move that ball. Inflation's not going to, you're not going to bend that curve in 2 days. You're not going to do it in 2 weeks. But by having a common sense approach and working with people, working in Congress, having the respect of your peers, you're going to be able to get things done a lot more effectively than being a man on an island.
Well, the challenge with inflation, I think, is that for prices to actually go down, there has to be something pretty dramatic to happen. The bigger problem I think we've had that's riding along with inflation is the fact that incomes are so flat. I mean, that for example, in the state of Georgia, we've increased teachers' salaries by about $9,500 over the last 4 years, but that's roughly on average about a 23% increase. Well, inflation went up 23%, so they may have gotten what looks like on paper a pretty good raise, but if inflation is the same amount, you're just treading water. So there's a hand-in-hand kind of component to that.
I mean, I think, it's time to move on, but the past 4 years of the Biden administration, the uncontrollable spending, that is what gave us the inflation. So even when we were tacking upwards with our incomes, the inflation outpaced that. So like you say, we're in a negative net position there. So one of the things that I think, and the president has talked about this, to get inflation in order, we've got to get energy cost in order. If we can get energy cost in order, that affects everything from, the price of homes, the price of automobiles, the price of groceries, everything. And, that is going to be something I'm going to be very mindful about.
So you've been doing this about 2 weeks, and I'm sure you've made some appearances in places and given a few speeches. What's been the thing that surprised you the most as you've talked to people? And then what have you learned as you've gone through this last couple of weeks?
I do want to say this is my first appearance with Martha. I have not spoken to people. We wanted to come on your show and do that. The reception has been great. I mean, I cannot tell you how humbling it is when you reach out to people and they are just saying, we've got your back. We want you to succeed. We're going to support you. I don't want to say that it's 100%. I've had a couple people that have texted me saying, why are you doing this? But I mean, it has been humbling to have the support that we have here locally that have, walked with me as I'm mayor, and now they're ready to help me take that next step to be the next congressman from the 9th District.
So what does the district look like now? Because I know we've gone back and forth a little bit on this. We got 40% of Gwinnett County in there, which is a big difference. Jackson County's back, but what does it look like now?
Yeah, so you're going to test me here. So we've got a little bit of Gwinnett County on the northern side of Gwinnett County. We've got Hall County, which we don't have all of Hall. We've lost about 20%, just basically the western side of that. Jackson County, we go to Banks County, Habersham County, White County, Rabun County, Stevens County, Union County, Towns County, Fannin County, Gilmer County. I think that is it.
So Paulding's not in there anymore, and Dawson's not in there anymore.
No, we were talking when you ran, you had 20 counties.
Yeah.
You talked to Nathan Deal. I think when he ran initially, his territory touched the state of Alabama, Tennessee, North Carolina, and South Carolina, because he had the 9th District went across the whole northern part of the state. But I'm so excited about getting out, meeting people in the district. That's one reason why I was trying to be strategic about announcing now. I wanted to give people the ample opportunity to get to know who Sam Couvillon is. Let them know that that I'm going to work hard for them. Let them get to know me personally. Just see that I'm the right person for the job.
So what kind of work you do? People may not know that.
Yes, I'm in the insurance business. I'm a partner at Norton Insurance. I've been in the insurance business 20 plus years, and it's a great business to be in. You feel like you're helping people, and it kind of ties in well with what I try to do politically, which is help people.
So one final question, and then I'll let you tell people how they can get in touch with you. So we've had like drinking from a fire hose the last 2 weeks since the president's been in office. What are your thoughts about the first few weeks of the Trump administration, and then how can people get in touch with you?
Well, I'm not tired of winning. I feel like President Trump has it seems like every time he does something, it's a win. I was listening to your prior segment. Just looking at the wasteful spending that we have going on that is being uncovered it's disheartening to think that all this time, our government will not do things differently just because it's for this. They don't want to change. President Trump is coming at it at a different angle, and people didn't like Pete Hegseth. My feeling about Pete Hegseth was, we keep putting the retired generals in charge of the Department of Defense. Let's try something different. And you look at the recruitment the past 2 months, highest recruitment for the Army the past 2 months that we've ever had. So we're moving in the right direction there. The other thing that I just was listening about that I'm very passionate about was the no boys and girls sports. I have 2 girls. There's times where women are like Riley Gaines. She goes to the NCAA swim meet, and not only does she have to change in the same locker room with a biological male, but then she has to swim against him. And then when she ties him, they defer to him and give him the medal instead of her. And those days are over, and I look for more of those positive things to happen for our country moving forward, and I think we're headed in the right direction.
If people want to know more about you, how can they do it?
Yes, we have a website, sendsamtocongress.com. You can find everything you want to know about me there, and if there's a way to message me there, I'll be happy to reach out to you. If there's groups that want me to come talk to them, we're going to be doing that. It's a slow rollout. I mean, we only have 15, 16 months until the election, but again, the reason I wanted to get out ahead of everything was I wanted to be able to give people the right amount of time to get to know who I was. I didn't want it to be rushed. I've had friends tell me don't try to cram it in there at the end. So we were just trying to be mindful of that.
Sam Couvillon, good luck. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.